gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin become younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really, really, really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our Tuesday evening introduction to LifeWave. We get together every Tuesday to do a brief overview of this very special company, the technology, a little bit about the founder. The star of the show is called X39. You're going to hear a bunch about it. And then, well, we bring Brett Gregory on to do that special short presentation. Then we bring on our special guest for the evening. It's Dr. Jeffrey Hubbard, and then we turn things over to you. And it's your turn to ask questions, share stories, and be here as a community. And we want to welcome all of you that are brand new. You might want to have something to write with handy because we got some wonderful things to share tonight. And I get to turn things over. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Robin. Here's my partner, Gregory. And we got our scarves on tonight. Ho, ho, ho.
Really? Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, it's getting cold up here in the Northern Lights. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn things over to you, my dear, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Beautiful. Well, thanks everyone for plugging in and joining us here tonight. We got some exciting information to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to talk about activating your stem cells. And that's a pretty exciting thing. And so before we get started, I just want to share with you a personal realization I came to a number of years ago. I finally figured out what I want to be when I get older, younger. Okay. Because, we all want to live younger, longer, I think. And so let me ask you a question just to get your thoughts going. If anything were possible, what's one thing you choose to experience differently in your health or in the health of someone you love and care for? And what difference would it make for you or for them if that were to change? And with that being said, let me just give a general disclaimer. Our products are not designed or intended to heal, treat, diagnose, or cure any disease. They do, however, help our bodies come back into a healthy state of regenerative mode. And many times wonderful things will start to happen. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's talk about the stem cell revolution, because we believe everyone wants to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And we found that stem cells are the key because they're a vital part of our immune system that repairs, regenerates all damaged cells in every organ, gland, tissue, muscle, bone, every fiber in our body. The problem is the older we get, the less stem cells we have. And by age 60, only a small percentage remains. And the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. Neither of those sound very cool to me. So what about stem cell injections? They become quite popular, but you know what? They're pretty expensive too. They can be painful, risky, controversial. And you can spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, as many people have, with limited and possibly no results. Well, we've got good news for you tonight, because you can look, feel, perform, and live younger with a historic breakthrough in stem cell activation. It's a new wearable technology in patch form. It's very affordable. It's safe. It's non-invasive. It's drug-free. It's a patented form of phototherapy that uses specific frequencies of light to increase and improve our stem cell activity. This was the brainchild of our visionary founder and CEO, David Schmidt. And David's not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, he's a genius inventor with over 130 patents and patent pendings, and he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years. Now, David's already conducted over 80 clinical studies proving the efficacy of LifeWave phototherapy products, and many more studies are always in the works. And so LifeWave is an 18-year-old advanced health sciences technology company. It was founded back in 2004 based on an energy enhancing technology that David developed for Navy SEALs to help them increase their strength, stamina, and performance without use of drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. This technology turned out to be so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world. We have corporate headquarters, laboratories, and manufacturing in California, Utah, and Ireland, and we're already doing global distribution to over 75 countries from our 15 global distribution centers. So the word is getting out about LifeWave patches, and they're now used by pro and amateur athletes around the world in almost every sport. The media's begin to notice, and you know what? You might too, if you look at some of your favorite athletes and Olympians, and you see these auspicious little patches on their body. Those are LifeWave phototherapy patches. So let's talk about how this amazing technology actually works. And it's based on a type of light therapy called photobiomodulation. And LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and nanocrystals. And when they're applied or near our body, they're activated by our body heat. And then they begin to emit very specific wavelengths of light, which stimulate targeted and beneficial biochemical responses in our body. And again, this is known as photobiomodulation, and it's the basis of our LifeWave phototherapy patches. So it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause specific changes within our body. For example, when we go out in the sun, a specific frequency of light causes our body to make vitamin D. We're not getting a download of vitamin D from the sun, but there's a frequency of light from the sun that causes our body to manufacture vitamin D. Now, likewise, another frequency of light causes our body to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. And LifeWave's patented technology is based on the same rock-solid, widely recognized principle, scientific principle. Our focus for the last 14 years has been in the field of anti-aging and regenerative science, and I'm happy to tell you that about 3 years ago, we released to the global market the LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patch, and this truly is a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell activation. Some are calling this the holy grail of anti-aging restorative science, because we're actually doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not been able to do. And the X39 patch actually activates a very targeted and specific copper peptide in our body that activates our body's own stem cells. While it also alters gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. So a true game changer, it's a true breakthrough, and our inventor, founder, CEO, David Schmidt, it's my greatest accomplishment or achievement yet, with an emphasis on yet, because David spends more time in the laboratory than he does in an office. And yes, we have patents, yes, we have clinical studies, and yes, we have field results proving that X39 is actually turning back our biological clock, helping people to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, very, very exciting news. So that's my little intro to LifeWave X39. And Robin, I'm going to turn the rest of it back over to you and our special guest doctor.
Okay. Well, I don't see Dr. Jeff yet. And he does his program right before this one. So hopefully he'll be on soon. But I will introduce him. And thank you, Gregory. That was wonderful. It's always a treat to hear that. There's I keep learning new things about this all the time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we do have something very, very special. So what I want to do is introduce our special guest, and hopefully he'll be here soon. And if not, you're going to get me. So there.
Okay. You know, Robin, I have a short little 3-minute video I could play for everybody.
Oh.
You want me to do that while we're waiting for Dr. Jeff?
Sure. And then I'll introduce him.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll be here.
Keep an eye out for him, and I'll start the video.
Okay, great.
Okay, hold on one second. And here we go.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy our later years full of energy, vitality, and good health. But so often, with age, our bodies start to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing and recovery time, sleep, it all just seems to go downhill. Unless you're using LifeWave. Since 2004, LifeWave has been delivering its amazing life-enhancing technology to people across the world, always helping the body do what it was designed to do, only better. And as it turns out, the best was yet to come. David Schmidt, our founder, creative force, and world-class inventor behind LifeWave technology, has recently achieved something in the field of regenerative science with a single LifeWave patch that researchers worldwide, spending years and billions of dollars, could not.
Okay, well, that was a little teaser, and I understand that our good doctor is with us. So,
Okay. So if you,
there
there
he
he
is.
is. Well,
wow. I'll bow
I
out,
love your,
he'll bow in.
that's a beautiful tree you got, Dr. Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you. We worked
Well,
hard.
Let me do a formal introduction so people who don't know you get to hear who you are. So Dr. Jeffrey Hubbard comes to us as the CEO, founder, and president of Medicare. And this is a really exciting, innovative health and wellness ecosystem. He's an educator. He wants people to understand health and well-being, and he lives in both worlds, but he lives a lot in the world of prevention and helping educate people on how to take care of these vessels, and he has a special spot in his heart for the underserved population and does a lot of really wonderful work around the world serving people. He's been to the Philippines. He's going to be going back soon. He's building, he's changing lives over there, and he lives in Texas, and he is an MD out of Texas, and we are really, really happy to have you. We love you, Dr. Jeff. So welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Are you all ready for Christmas?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
There's plenty of time.
It's kind of snuck up on us this year.
You what?
It kind of snuck up on us this year.
No kidding. It really snuck. This whole year went so fast, but we are in the holiday spirit, and we know that, our health is our greatest wealth. And this is such a wonderful gift to share with people at this time of year. So what is it, Dr. Jeff? Well, let's start out with a story, because it's always fun to hear a story. Have you heard a recent story or had a recent experience with someone that just made you go, wow, using this technology?
Yeah, I always have those wow moments. But I think the biggest one that I still am reeling about was the one in the Philippines. So guys, we were having all of these lectures, all of these meetings. It was really kind of like a whirlwind. It was super exciting, but we did live patching demonstrations. And so there was one lady who came up, and real sweet, petite lady, and she sat down and she's like, my foot's hurting. And so I'm expecting, the standard sort of pain issue or whatever. She's got a huge ulcer on her foot, and she's got this makeshift bandage on it. And I'm just like, oh, wow, so I paused for a moment. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I put 2 X39s and an ice wave on. And so we gave a few minutes for the patches to work. Sometimes depending upon how you orient the ice wave patches, sometimes it may take a little bit to find the appropriate pain relief positioning. And so I wasn't expecting for my first application to work. But anyway, we went to the next person and started talking to them a little bit. And we come back over to the lady who I just previously patched, and tears are streaming down her face. She says, for the first time in 7 years, I don't have any pain in my foot.
Whoa.
So that was just, the spirit was moving. It was it almost made me emotional. I had to kind of say, just give her a hug and say, wow, congratulations. I'm really excited about this. And, you need these patches, basically.
Wow. How many years was it?
7 years.
7 years.
7.
Wow. Wow. So it's truly amazing what we see here and experience with people. And it is really very, very touching to, and we say wow a lot, don't we?
only
One of my people even gave me a wow counter because we say wow so many times. So as a doctor, you're an MD, people come to you for your expertise in the healing world. Why did you get interested in LifeWave? What was it that really said, I got to check this out?
Well, there was a colleague friend of mine. We had been in another company with nutritional products and, had some modicum of success, but nothing big. And so she calls me up one day randomly and is like, Dr. Jeff, you got to see this. I got something, right? When you have those conversations amongst business partners and they tell you something like, hey, this is it. You better come look at this. So she made lunch and we had, something to eat and we were just conversing and she slaps down in my lap the 15th anniversary booklet. So that, to be honest, was the first thing that made me raise an eyebrow, because normally companies who do direct sales, who do network marketing, they don't last 15 years. So that made me believe, wow, like this is, okay, you got my attention. Okay, so I start thumbing through the booklet. It's very professional, very well done. And I get to the science and I start kind of going over the science and I'm like, wow, remaining skeptical, this seems to be very powerful. If this can do what it says it can do, I'm interested. So she gives me a couple of X39. I put one on immediately. And I remember thinking later that night that I felt warm and fuzzy. I knew I felt something, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. The next morning, I woke up refreshed. I woke up feeling amazing. And I just noticed that I had a different pep in my step. I definitely was clear. I had a great day. So I said, yeah, there's something here. So I started doing some research. I started reading. And maybe the 4th or 5th article on the website is about EON. And EON is an autonomic nervous system stimulator. It helps the parasympathetic nervous system work more effectively. And in my other life, I use a device that assesses the autonomic nervous system. And so I saw a correlation between the biomarkers and the points of the research that really stood out to me. And I said, wow, if I can use this patch to help people who I know have issues with their autonomic nervous system, this would be a great tool. And so that really got me to dive deep into the research. And there's like 80 plus clinical trials on the website. So it took me a while to get acquainted with all of the stuff that was there. So that just was really impressive because most, if not all companies do not have any internal research at all. So 15 years in the game, research, patents, and I felt good on the product. I was like, okay, I can put my name behind this one.
That's interesting. You say most companies don't make it past 5 years.
Yeah.
And we are now 18 years old. So we've broken a lot of records and we're actually breaking records all the time with what's going on, because once that X39 came out, the company tripled in size in 1 year.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. So, okay. So this wonderful technology that made you feel warm and fuzzy, who's it for and who isn't it for?
So I think that's one of the really awesome things about specifically X39. You have both like a preventative, what we call easy aging, right? Slow aging, anti-aging, however you want to call it.
I'm going for reverse myself.
Rolling back the clock. Okay. So on that side, you've got that aspect of it. But let's say you do have some sort of issue, ailment, symptom, whatever you want to call it, dis-ease, it works there too. So it really is for both spectrums. The young, healthy person who wants to reverse the aging process to age gracefully, or you have the person who may already be a senior, may already have a pain here or issue here or there that's looking to repair that tissue, rebuild that tissue, strengthen the immune system, all the things that we know are really valuable to help with disease states. So, I mean, it really is flexible for anyone. I get questions all the time about pregnancy. It's healthy for pregnant ladies and for the baby. I get questions about young kids and babies. It's healthy for them too. So there's really no, do's or don'ts per se, but we do have a couple of caveats, and we usually talk about this in another question, but I'll go ahead and just talk
That's
about
okay.
it right
Go
now.
for it.
So I just had a lady on my program ask me about chemo, and she said she's actively going through chemo. And I said, no X39, no X49 for you, but the other patches should be helpful in the antioxidant process and some of the other things, detoxing and so on and so forth. So if you're actively going through chemo, if you just finished chemo, if you're about to start chemo, there's a couple of restrictions there. And we also suggest that you speak with your treating doctor to make sure that they're aware of what you're intending to do with the patches. And then people who have transplants, so kidney, liver, heart, lung, you at some point you need to be fully adjusted to your new organ, and it needs to be fully received. And then once you're not taking the anti-rejection drugs, then you can introduce some of the patches. We just want to be very careful with that.
So bottom line, you're saying it's safe for almost everybody. And for people that are young and healthy, they can enhance their performance and alter the aging process. For people that have those, as Gregory likes to call them, lumpuckaroos, that's a disease state. We can name that one. That it works. And I always like to ask the question, are you experiencing any of the signs or symptoms of the aging process? And then people start to laugh, and then they start giving me a laundry list, oh, my sleep, my skin, my energy, my focus, so it really helps everything. It's pretty exciting. Wonderful. Now, when people start using this, you had an immediate experience. Is that common? How long can people expect before they notice something?
So it's definitely a case-by-case basis. And so if you can imagine, I'm under promising and over delivering with my statement. So you can expect to have an experience anywhere within, 1 to 2 days, 1 to 2 weeks, but some people even take 1 to 2 months. And everybody's different. Everybody's physiology is different. Everybody's response to the photobiomodulation is different. And so we had a big conference here in Dallas. We went to the Marriott downtown, and one of the speakers who came into town to give us her insight and direction, she said that it's her opinion that you should wear the patch for 1 month for every decade you've been on Earth. And I thought that was a really profound statement. So if you're in your 60s, you need 6 months before you can even make an assessment about whether or not it's working for you. So give yourself that window of time. That to me is the only reason that it won't work, is that you don't give it enough time and you don't give it the consistency it needs, because it's cumulative. So
Beautiful.
It works over time, it builds its way up, and you really start to see change as time progresses.
Thank you so much for saying it's cumulative, and we do have a health tracker that we recommend you get a baseline and track yourself over time, because these subtle little things get better and better and better. And it's really, really wonderful. So we invite everyone to do that. And the conditions in your body didn't happen overnight. Give them some time. So I love that. A month for every decade. That's pretty wonderful. That's a good one. We'll remember that one. Okay. Yeah. So do people have any so-called negative or less than stellar experiences with the patches? And, is there anything to pay attention to, or what's that about?
So sometimes, guys, let's be honest, sometimes our bodies are jacked up. And you can't expect for a complete turnaround when you've had decades and decades and decades of stuff happening, right? So sometimes when you improve the way the body's functioning, you have these antioxidants and these different things that are churning cells at a level they haven't been churned in some time, you can get what we call a healing crisis. So occasionally, it takes a little bit of time for people to get adjusted to a patch like glutathione or sometimes X39. So maybe a joint that is really jacked up may be a little tender when you first start. Sometimes If you've got toxins and things built up, sometimes it can create maybe a headache or maybe a change in your bowel function. Maybe you might perspire. Maybe you might feel a little lightheaded or woozy, have a headache, but it's not a problem with the patch. It's just your body's acclimation to the photobiomodulation. And you can immediately remove the patch almost 100% of the time. After the second application, you're right in the saddle and you're going to start feeling the benefits. But I have a few people, say, oh, I had this going on or I had that going on. And they asked me if that was normal. And we talked through it and then it was okay.
So it could have something that doesn't feel as great in the beginning because that's your body, like you said, acclimating to the technology. But and the beauty is you can just take it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Just
not
that
like
simple.
ingesting something that you can't untake,
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned this earlier. You mentioned young people using the patches. How young?
Well, so there's a buddy of mine out in San Diego. His son is a rock star baseball player in high school. And those kids are wearing the patches like they're going out of style. So, bumps and bruises, aches and pains for your kids, grandkids, nephews, cousins, any athlete who's pushing their body to the limit is going to really appreciate the patches. Anybody who's bodybuilding, building muscle or kind of like these extreme athletes, climbing, hiking, skiing, all of that good stuff, they're going to really appreciate the patches as well. Anybody who maybe has some sort of congenital abnormality or something else, maybe a car accident or injury, fall, all of those things are going to really benefit from wearing the X39. I mean, I've seen some amazing pictures of people who have had surgeries or had, cuts or trauma or anything like that. Really helpful there.
Okay. So briefly thank you so much for that. Before we
You're
open
welcome.
it up to our audience, is there, what are the conditions to get the maximum benefit? The 1, 2, 3 to get the maximum benefit of using this technology.
2, 3 is consistency. So you want to wear the patches on schedule or as best as schedule as possible. Your body likes repetitive things. So 12 hours on, 12 hours off is the recommended dose. You want to drink an ample amount of water. What is ample? 2/3 of your body weight in ounces. So, pretty much 66 ounces for every 100 pounds. And another caveat with that, if you drink Cokes, if you have a good glass of wine or a beer from time to time, if you like your coffee in the morning, those are diuretics. They're going to make us urinate more frequently. So you need extra water on top of those diuretics to cover up for the increased urination that you're likely to have by consuming those. And then, it's great to have all your 92 vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, but we're going to emphasize 3 specific ones: magnesium, copper, and zinc. And, just follow the recommendation on your supplement to be able to get ample amounts. There's basically, a daily dosage that you should be having. I read a book about magnesium that says we could hook everybody in America to an IV bag full of magnesium and we'd still be deficient. So apparently you can't get enough magnesium.
Okay.
So those are the keys. Those are the keys and
So
the cumulative.
Supplemental minerals, consistency, hydration, and 12 hours on, 12 hours off. We got it. It's peel and stick, you guys. Compliance is very easy on this one. So let's open things up for our guests tonight and see what we have in our Q&A section. That's where we address your stories and your questions. So Rainey is saying a 60-year-old woman has had hair thinning for many years. She takes biotin. Her nails are healthy. She's currently wearing X39 for 2 to 3 months. Anything else you would suggest to reverse her hair loss?
So you're not going to believe this, but this is only, I just passed a year. So this is like 14 months of hair growth for me. And before I started wearing X49, my hair did not grow very long. So X49 should be added to the regimen. I have seen some amazing things happen with my hair growth personally. So I won't talk about anybody else. I'll talk about me.
Okay. So Rainey at X49, okay? And yeah, there's many anecdotal stories about people with their hair with X49. So give it a try, Rainey. Okay, Shirley says, I developed a lot of pain in my legs and lower torso along with head pains. Eventually I couldn't walk. My muscles were not working well. Of course, Ice Wave stopped the pain when I used it. After 3 to 4 days, I was walking okay without pain and no use of patches. How often should I use these combinations of patches and for how long? Thank you, Shirley.
Great question. So in my opinion, Life Wave is a lifestyle, okay? So I'm a firm believer that you need to wear the patches religiously, and you shouldn't wear them just when you're in pain or just when you're having a concern about one issue or the other. As we talked about earlier in the discussion, cumulative. So every time you put it on, you're ramping up a little bit more. And so you will begin to resolve the issue. And again, I think sometimes we patch and we start feeling better, and then we stop patching, and then we allow for the symptom to come back. And so I would just keep wearing them unless there's, any sort of restraint financially or anything like that. But if you can make it a part of your budget and consistently wear them, I will keep wearing them.
So X39 consistently, because it is cumulative and things get better and better. But if someone's pain is gone, they don't need Ice Wave anymore, right?
Correct. Right. Great point. I wanted
stay with X39, let go of the pain patch if the pain is gone. Great. Wonderful. Glad to hear that, Shirley. Rich is in the Philippines. I love it that you keep showing up for these calls, Rich. We have a 74-year-old lady who fractured her right ankle a few days ago. The doctor didn't cast it. She was advised to take alendronic acid and calcium carbonate with vitamin D. What patches do you recommend and where should she place them, or any other recommendations for her?
So yeah, X39 is going to be great for the healing process. X49 is going to be great for the bone mending and just the homeostasis of bone repair. So those two together should really get the job done. If it's at all painful, Ice Wave would really be good, and Eon will help with the swelling. So those would be the 4 that I would go to right off. But I'm a little concerned that they didn't cast it. So, I mean, maybe there needs to be some sort of immobilization device, maybe a boot or something you can get, or even one of those soft cast that you can put on there just to keep it in place. But I like the idea of vitamin D and calcium. Those are going to help with the bone. But the X39 and X49 is going to heal the bone much more effectively than just taking some calcium and vitamin D supplements by mouth.
Great. Thank you. When you do your own research on the copper peptide, GHK-Cu, one of the amazing benefits is the speeding of healing, no matter how old you are. So the doctors will be very, very excited to see how quickly you heal. Okay, and I do want to say that, Valerian, please restate your question without naming a disease state so I can ask it. Thank you. Symptoms only. And Adele wants to know, can X39 and 49 be worn with a pacemaker?
Yes. So the pacemaker is just a mechanism, a device that's implanted into the chest. It's just implanted into the chest region to make sure that the heart beats on proper rhythm. So, yeah, you can't go through the security system at the airport. You can't have some other electronics because they will impact the way the pacemaker is working. However, the light therapy, the beautiful part about that is it doesn't interfere with anything else going on. So it doesn't interfere with any medicines. It doesn't interfere with any devices that are implanted, and nothing of that. So it's really an effective tool.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Isn't that wonderful to know that it's safe to wear with pacemakers? Okay.
Yeah.
So Julianne is asking which patch would be good for a brown raised spot that is a little tender?
So, I mean, it sounds like it's an inflammatory deal without being able to see it, without knowing more detail. So I would go glutathione. That's going to be really helpful in almost every situation.
Gregory, please mute. Okay, continue on. Sorry about that.
No worries. Just want to deal with the inflammatory process there. So likely glutathione, eon, that combination is really great for inflammation. Here, I'm going to put my email in the chat, Robin, and if there's some more specific questions that need to be discussed offline, you can always email me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Jeff does consultations, and he's going to put his email in the chat. And he also does a call on Tuesday nights, a half hour before this one, called askdrjeff.org. Okay. So yes, glutathione on the skin for all kinds of things. It does amazing things. Wonderful. So Heidi wants to know, how long after chemo is it safe to start using X39?
So what I believe is that you need to figure out which chemo and how that chemo is metabolized by the body. So there's something called half-life. So it's the half-life of the drug is basically eliminated throughout the body. And there's a calculation that you can use based upon how that drug is eliminated, whether it's metabolized by the liver or the kidneys. So it would be specific to that chemo drug, and you would just need to do the calculation based upon the half-life. And that's public information. So if you just Google that drug, it'll tell you, hey, you know, here's the half-life of it. And then you can just say, okay, if the half-life is 12 hours, then you just calculate how many hours it's going to take to eliminate.
Beautiful, beautiful. And are there any other patches beside X39 for aftercare for someone who's been on chemo? From Heidi again.
Yeah, all of them actually. Well, I think the YH is going to be really helpful because they're antioxidant driven. So carnosine, glutathione, they're going to help flush and eliminate stuff out of your system. They're going to help to get your cells back on homeostatic balance. So I would use Eon, X39, glutathione, carnosine, and I really love aloe vera. Aloe vera works on 7 different organs. It's really great. And you know, most of the conversation around aloe vera is about the skin care, but the patch itself, the clinical trial is really impressive. So I love aloe vera. I think aloe vera is a good system to bring your body back into balance.
Beautiful, beautiful. I've heard some amazing results from people with organs getting healed. Or getting better, I should say. We don't claim to cure anything. Okay, we're just going to take another 1 or 2. So please get your questions in before the bottom of the hour. G wants to know, can I move the X39 patch to different parts of the body throughout the day? That's a cool question.
That is a great question, and yes, you can. So our acupoint system is very, very interesting. And by no means am I acupuncturist, but I've been reading a lot about this, basically trying to understand how to create different protocols and where orienting the patches will make a significant difference in one condition or the other. So what I found is that the midline meridians, the conception vessel and the governing vessel, which are right in the center of the body, those are kind of our general full body approaches to photobiomodulation. So that's why most of the patches are, you know, on the back of your neck or below your navel or on your forehead, on the center of your chest. Those are very powerful acupoint locations. But there's other meridians, right, on either side symmetrically. And so you can make a knee feel a lot better by patching right on the knee, or you can make a hip feel better by patching right on the hip or on the back. And so if you want to say, I'm going to wear 6 hours kind of on this general wellness area, and then I'm going to wear 6 hours on the knee, absolutely. Let's say, for instance, you want to wear it on the back of the neck and then move it to the below the navel, absolutely fine. I think those are really smart ways to leverage the time you wear the photobiomodulation.
That's really fascinating. Thank you so much for that. And, you know, one of the things that I learned was trust your instincts. Try different things and see what you notice. You know, everybody's different and you can't hurt anything. And that's the good news, isn't it?
And that is great news. Let me just add this one little point before we go to the next thing. I can't prove this, so don't quote Dr. Jeff on this, but I believe that there's an interaction, a cellular intelligence that happens when you start wearing these patches. And I know we're getting a little off the beaten path. This is just me talking. I've been my own guinea pig, but I do feel like there's some sort of conversation that you hear that says, put the patches here, put the patches there. And I believe that you should follow that because that is instinctive. Your body is communicating with you what it needs. And when I listen to it, I feel a lot better.
Well, that's great wisdom to listen to our bodies and listen to those little voices that are talking to us and trust them and see what happens. Well, I'm looking at the clock and we've gone a little bit over. So I want to thank everyone for being with us tonight. Dr. Jeff, always a pleasure. Always love learning from you. I'm glad I got to see you before Christmas.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're a great gift to our community, Dr. Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And can I say one thing before we go?
Of course you can.
All right. Guys, I am so excited to announce that we're going to be starting our 3rd year of Ask Dr. Jeff. We started on January 6th, 2021. And so this January 6th, we're going to be celebrating our anniversary. We're going to have a big online bash and we're inviting everybody to come. I'm going to be unveiling some cool stuff for the year of 2023 and want everybody who's interested to participate. It's going to just be on our standard Zoom link, which is askdrjeff.org, and that'll take you right to the meeting. So it's going to be Friday, January 6th at 7:30 Central. So put that on your calendar. I'd love for everyone listening to join. And I also please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. YouTube gives kind of all new bells and whistles and cool things when you get to 1,000 subscribers. So please take a moment to go on YouTube and search for Ask Dr. Jeff and you'll see the videos.
And so it's January 6th, Friday at 7 Central?
7:30. 7:30.
I'm putting that in the chat. 7:30. There's a party, you guys. We are celebrating 3 years with Dr. Jeff online, and do go on YouTube and join his channel and get to that. You're going to have thousands, not just 1,000, but thousands. Yes, that's so wonderful. We are so grateful for you taking your precious time and sharing your wisdom with our community. And then again, what is the email for people to contact you, Dr. Jeff?
So it is Dr. J.B. Hubbard, MD @gmail. So DRJB, my initials, Hubbard, HUBBARD, MD @gmail.
Okay, so that is in the chat. And you want to write it quickly. The party and, oh, thank you, Ravel. You're just amazing, Ravel. So for those of you that were guests this evening, thank you for taking the time to be here and learn about this amazing technology. And we invite you to get back to the person that invited you and get started. If you're just using the patches for yourself, we have a wonderful customer program. If you're the kind of person that likes to share and can't not share, like me, you definitely want to get signed up as a brand partner, because there's many, many wonderful and very generous benefits for you. And we get to make the world a better place and help people and give people hope. And this is the time of year, especially, where we want to give people a lot of hope that the future can be much brighter than it has been for some. So, really give the gift of health, reach out to people and share this wonderful blessing that we've come across. It's a gift to the world. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Gregory, for your wonderful presentation. And Jeff, Dr. Jeff, what a gift you are. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you
Bye,
tonight. Good night.
everybody. Bye-bye.